Welcome to Spirit in Translation, a space where astrology, tarot, and dreams come together to bring clarity into our combined awareness. Each week, we explore the subtle energies shaping our inner and outer worlds through storytelling, cosmic insight, and intuitive tools that help you align with your own rhythm and truth. In today's episode, I'm pulling back the curtain on how this practice began. From picking up my tarot deck after a 15-year break, to blending astrology and dreamwork in ways I never saw coming. I'll share the milestones, the messiness, and the magic that inspired me to create this podcast. And I'll introduce a new weekly segment that weaves together personal transits, tarot cards, dream symbols, and journaling prompts to help you reflect and realign the stories unfolding beneath the surface. Let's dive in. When I left the corporate world, I imagined working solely with tarot. It was the first tool I'd truly mastered after a break that lasted nearly 15 years. For a long time, I was a wife and mother first, and the vision I had for my family life didn't leave much room for metaphysical interests. Then came 2020, a year of incredible upheaval for so many. It felt like nothing would ever be the same again. I started getting cosmic inklings to reconnect. Spirit can be incredibly loud until you finally listen. Things got uncanny for me. It was all a little too coincidental. So, I finally told my husband I needed a tarot deck. I had this whole argument prepared to justify the expense. But all he said was, okay. It was anticlimactic, but deeply appreciated. When I shared what I was doing with my girlfriends, I fully expected to be disowned. Tarot attracts a lot of controversy for many reasons. At the time, it was just starting to show up on TikTok. But instead of judgment, they embraced it. Each of them ended up getting a deck of their own. We started gathering under full moons. We'd celebrate the seasonal shifts and read the cards together. The world was on fire, but we were thankful to have our distractions. Naturally, our interest deepened. We began studying our placements, especially how they work together. That's called synastry. Then we started looking at our partner's charts. And for me, I was open to read anyone who'd share their necessary info. It's powerful, understanding how you're wired to connect, and the challenges you're likely to face. And we did face challenges. That's when we discovered perfection years, and then we dove into that too. Eventually, I started sharing weekly tarot outlooks, inspired by Chani Nicholas astrology readings. For example, Monday's card might give insight on how to survive the first day of the eclipse in Scorpio. I'd send those readings to my friends, and as the week unfolded, they'd text me, "You will not believe how that card showed up for me," and we'd have a good laugh. I eventually shifted away from this practice. But I still get messages, people asking what upcoming transits might mean for them personally. That offering was one of my favorites. But back then, Chani also did tarot. Her approach was totally different from mine, but she was already well established in the community. I didn't feel bold enough to carve my own lane, and I wasn't willing to compromise my ethics. So instead, I focused on learning and improving my technique. I picked up Parker's astrology and started following astrologers like Real Astrology with Lori, Coding Astrology, and the Astrology podcast with Chris Brennan. I learned a lot, but things really shifted when I realized the Hierophant card kept showing up, and not for the reason I thought. I assumed the Hierophant meant higher learning or mentorship. And sure, I was doing the work. So, why was this card stalking me? The Hierophant is linked to Taurus, my sun sign, and Taurus falls in my 6th house of routines and daily life. I was doing the Hierophant's work, but outside of studying and feeding my kids, I was basically living like a frat boy. The card was insistent I commit and do the necessary tasks to better support my workflow. As I deepened my practice in both tarot and astrology, I noticed something else. The messages didn't stop when I closed my eyes. They just changed form. Chani talks about dreaming of conversations with the planets. That wasn't my path. Instead, I dreamt of walking a Highland cow through a school, where the animal was seen as a blessing, or of matching timepieces in 2 halves of a crab shell, one representing the outer shell, the other, its underbelly. I felt guilty for splitting them, but I had to choose. Time was ticking. Those dreams stuck with me. Later, I dreamt of looking through a microscope at a tiny scorpion. And another time, of a floor swarming with scorpions right after I had intentionally pushed someone down a flight of stairs. If you've ever upset a Scorpio, you get it. So think about your own dreams. Could it be that the planets or their archetypes are influencing your subconscious? Maybe you don't dream of animals or planets, but the energy might still be there, just showing up in different ways. Dreams reflect how we process our waking life. Astrology adds context, timing, themes, and of course, archetypes. It helps decode our inner stories. One of my girlfriends had a dream recently. We both immediately recognized the theme, but I asked her to check her Saturn placement. That one detail and its aspects revealed a lifelong pattern, one that had been showing up in her waking life as well. Suddenly, the dream wasn't just noise. It was a sign of integration and eventually resolution. That moment made me realize, if I want to offer this kind of insight, I need to understand my clients' placements and their relationship with the upcoming transits. Most dream content on social media focuses on symbols or the retellings of astral travel. But in astrology content, dreams are mostly discussed in the context of the 12th house. That's the house of the subconscious, ruled by Pisces. Pisces is the mystic, the dreamer, an archetype where boundaries blur. Pisces may not necessarily fall into your natal 12th house, but personal planets in this sign don't follow strict rules. And our dreams reflect that. When we ask how do transits affect dreams, that's largely underexplored. With this in mind, I created an exercise. Each week, I'll highlight major aspects between the personal planets, the nodes, the IC and MC. The moon will be discussed by phase and sign. Here's a quick primer. Sun is the self, your outward identity. Venus is your love, attraction, connection as it relates to you. Mars represents drive, ambition, and your approach to passion. IC or the Imam Seelie describes your deepest self, your inner foundation. MC or medium Seelie describes your public self, what you're known for. The North Node is our collective work and growth. The South Node is our collective past wisdom to integrate in service to the North Node. Do you feel confident enough to move forward? If you don't, that's okay. I know you can do this. As always, feel free to drop your questions in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer. Let's look at this week's transits. I'll start with the moon. We begin this week under the last quarter moon in Aquarius. This is a cerebral, visionary moon. It invites you to reflect on where ideals have clashed with reality. You might feel like withdrawing. That's okay. Let intuition guide you through observation and not reaction. By the end of the week, we enter the balsamic phase in Aries. It's time to rest, release, and find closure. Aries adds courage to this quieter phase, asking, what old battles are you finally ready to stop fighting? And now let's introduce this week's transits. Sun square Mars. You may feel like you're pushing hard, but meeting resistance. The energy is high but scattered or confrontational. Sun trine. Ascendant. Thankfully, this is a more harmonious transit. The way you're confidently presenting yourself allows your community to really take notice. In short, you might not gain momentum outwardly, but your internal alignment is powerful. Now let's pull some cards. I am going to use a simple 3-card spread. First card, where am I seeking external progress? I've pulled the Queen of Wands. You're looking for support, maybe even applause. And honestly, you've earned it. Second card, where does internal alignment support or conflict with this? It's the Two of Swords reversed. If you're not stuck anymore, if you are choosing what you feel is right and ultimately trusting your decisions, then you are likely aligned. If these circumstances exist while you have public and private support, you are truly in flow. Third card, how can I harmonize effort with alignment? Seven of Wands, decide what you're defending and why. Generally speaking, being intentional and less reactive will lead you to better outcomes overall. I'd like to share with you 3 journaling prompts to explore your relationship with external progress and internal alignment. 1. Am I acting from alignment or expectation? 2. What part of me feels unseen or underexpressed? 3. What am I trying to prove and to whom? I will be revisiting these prompts to share my thoughts across our social media pages. If you'd like me to add yours as well, please reach out. Finally, let's look at 5 dream symbols tied to this week's energy. A missed flight could reference a misaligned timing or fear of success. Being chased in slow motion may reflect a sense of urgency, but feeling powerless against an unachievable goal. Locked doors can translate as mental or energetic blocks. Forgetting your shoes or pants is frustrating, but likely it's because you aren't completely showing up in your waking life either. And finally, a familiar place that feels somehow strange could hint at outgrowing a past version of yourself. Whatever you experience this week, know this: challenges aren't just Sun square Mars. We can't wait for the next good transit to fix things for us, but the magic is in the awareness. If you know what is likely to come, how would you change your approach? If you have experienced dreams like these, please comment below. I'd love to know what you are dreaming about this week and how astrology is showing up for you in the astral. Let's keep connecting the dots between our internal and external cosmos. I'll catch up with you on this and so much more in next week's episode. Take care and sweet dreams.